More options for your Hydra teams starting now. What is going on, Raider? Soda Dragon here, bringing you a variation of a team I showed you a few days ago that does a lot more damage to the Hydra. So the comp I'm going to show you is by far not like the best comp in the world. It's nothing groundbreaking. But the thing is, even if you knew what the best comp was, do you have the champs? And even if you had the champs, do you have the gear to make that best comp work? So those are just some things to think about. In my opinion, the more options I give you guys, the better. Let me give you guys a real life example. So here we have a Murder Inc. video, and this is titled The Best Hydra Team in the World. So the team he's showcasing here came from his clan leader Infinite. So this is a 1-key auto nightmare. So when I saw this video, I was like, awesome, I got all these champs. I mean, 1-key nightmare auto. And if you guys have seen my shard pull videos, yes, I even got 2 Hanorok recently, so I got them all. So I tried this team out with what I thought was pretty good gear for my account, and guess what happened? I'll just put it this way. It was bad. So that's kind of my point, guys. It's not a question of what is the best comp out there. It is what's the best comp for you and your account. Those are two very different questions. This comp is not the best for my account. Though, if I keep on farming, maybe it will be someday. We'll see. Anyways, guys, on to my Hydra comp for today. Now, it's just going to be a variation of the comp that I showed you a few days ago. So check it out, guys. We got 30 million damage. Now, this is on normal, but check out all the champs. They're all still alive. One of them is swallowed, yes, but still, everybody is still alive, and we have 30 million damage on normal. So I think this would translate to about a 1 or 2 key on hard. So 1 or 2 key on hard and way overkill on normal, because all we need for normal is 6.66 for the highest chest. So this is the same double Geo comp that I showed you a few days ago, but the only difference here is instead of Abyssal, we have Uugo in his place. So guys, I think this damage number is pretty impressive, but it may or may not be impressive to you depending on where you're looking and the personal records that you're seeing people breaking. But once again, the question is, guys, what is the best comp for you? What can you achieve with your account and your champs and your gear? So that is the ultimate question here. When you see the gear that I have on these champs, it's really nothing special. That's why I like this comp. Now, yeah, you're going to need the champions and there are substitutes, but none of my gear is great. That's why I couldn't make that Murder Inc. comp work. My gear sucks. It's not that good, okay? So if I can make something work, you can too. Granted, you have the champs or the substitutes. All right, guys, here's my comp. Same as last time, except Abyssal has been swapped out for Uugo. So if you want more details on how this comp works in particular, then check out my last video on this. I'll link it in the description below. But for now, I'm just going to give you how it works in a nutshell. How does Geo work? Well, Geo has a passive that reflects part of the damage that your team takes to anybody that has an HP burn placed on them by Geo. Now, Geo only places single target HP burns, and those HP burns cannot be spread by someone like Vizier. If you try that out, then those HP burns spread by Vizier will count as Vizier's HP burns and not as Geo's. So Geo only has a single target HP burn, but when he burns people, people are going to get that reflected damage from the team. So big damage from those Hydra heads to your team equals big damage back to those burned Hydra heads. In my last video, I gave you guys 5 tips on how to maximize Geo against the Hydra. So if you want a more in-depth explanation of those 5 tips, then check out my previous video. But right now, I'm just going to highlight those 5 tips. So number 1 is going to be the use of Relentless or Reflex gear. Number 2 is going to be more Geos. The more Geos you have, the more HP burns you can spread. Number 3 is turn meter boosting with Shamail and the Head of Torment. Number 4 are cooldown reduction champs. So if you have somebody like a Kaimar or a Painkeeper, that would help out as well. And number 5 is going to be debuff extenders. So if you have somebody like Vizier, you can use him to extend those HP burns. Now, extensions are okay. Those will still count as Geo's HP burn, but you cannot spread them. That's the only thing you cannot do. So that's not an exhaustive list, but yes, those are ways you can maximize Geo against the Hydra. And notice as well, for this team, I'm not even using all 5 of those tips. That is all 5 of those strategies. I'm only using 3 out of those 5. So that is, make it work for you. If you don't have double Geo, that's fine. Use a single Geo and maybe another tip like a cooldown reduction champ or a debuff extender, whatever. So you can mix and match to try to maximize Geo for whatever champs that you have. So why Uugo instead of Abyssal? So why was I using Abyssal in the first place? Well, it's because of his A1 here. He has a block buffs debuff on his A1 and it's an AoE. So Really good against, in particular, that Head of Mischief from stealing your buffs and spreading them, and against the other heads from taking on new buffs, in particular that Head of Wrath when he self-buffs. When this is up, the Head of Wrath will not self-buff with those removable buffs. He will self-buff with that Vengeance buff though. So Uugo here on her A2 does have that AoE block buffs debuff as well. So this is for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. Really nice. Now some of you guys might be saying, well, can't Abyssal keep it up with potentially 100% uptime because it's on his A1? So can't you just keep on throwing out his A1 and just pretty much keep up with 100% uptime that block buffs debuff? I would say maybe, but there's a lot left to chance. Remember, even with the Sniper Mastery, you only have a 35% chance with Abyssal of landing that block buffs debuff. Now, yes, he can throw it out every single time, but still, probably like a 1 in 3 chance pretty much he has of landing that. Now, it is for 2 turns, and you can extend it with Master Hexer to potentially 3 turns. And, you know, I did that with his Masteries. But still, you would find Uugo is much more consistent to land that block buffs debuff. Now, Uugo's A2 here also does not have a 100% chance to land those block buff debuffs. So with that Sniper Mastery and booked, you only have an 80% chance with that AoE to land it on everybody. But still, it is an upgrade. You'll see those block buffs, debuffs will land more consistently with Uugo. Plus, on this A2 as well, you have a strong version decreased defense AoE. Really nice for racking up the damage numbers against those Hydra heads, against those severed ones in particular. Uugo with her A3 does have a really nice revive here as well. Now, Abyssal does have a revive too, but hers beats out Abyssal's. Why? It's a bigger heal, plus she removes 1 random debuff with this heal. Now, this heal can be used to revive her allies if all of them are dead, but chances are that situation won't come up. The way the Hydras work is they start to take down your champs one by one. So there really won't be a case, I guess, unless she's the last one standing, that you can use this A3 to revive. And if she is the last one standing, chances are she's only going to revive 1 person because all the rest of your champs have been eaten. So it's not going to help you out too much. So here I'm just going to go through Uugo's gear stats and masteries. Now, if you want to see everyone else's gear stats and masteries and how the run works, then once again, check out my previous video linked below. I'll give you a lot more details in that video. But to not kind of rehash the same information, I'm just going to go through Uugo today. So how have I geared her? I have her in a regeneration set and a perception set. Guys, just take a second to appreciate this. Only 1 piece of her gear is level 16. Check that out. Most of them are level 12s. 1 is level 13. So when I talk about like accessible gear, I mean, come on. 30 million damage with that team. And look how Uugo is dressed. And the same thing with the other champs. They're not crazy geared out. When you see the total stats, very, very achievable for someone mid-game. On to her total stats. So I have her at 58,000 health. I have the attack at 1,300. I have the defense at 2,700. Speed 176. Crit rate 31%. Crit damage 89%. Resist at 151. And accuracy at 322. On to her masteries. So down the offense tree, I do have War Master here. So we're doing bonus damage based off enemy max HP. And on the support tree, I do have Sniper, so we increase the chance of her landing that block buffs debuff to 80% from 75% because of this master. We get plus 5%. And here, Master Hexer, we are potentially extending her debuffs 1 more turn. Alright guys, that is it for today. So the team I have here may not be the best team in the world, but who knows? This may be the best team for you and your account. Check out my previous video linked below for more details on how this comp works. And if you guys haven't yet, like, subscribe, and share. Turn on all notifications. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.